have damage follow.
Yes.
If we play... Dead.
Hey guys, Derek here, and today we're bringing you a little bit of updates and some gameplay to Shattersight. We've done a decent amount of map work lately, so a big shout out to Kern from the Discord, who basically has been going around and finding flaws and stuff like that with the maps, which has kept me busy definitely, but super thankful to him for pointing out a lot of the map issues, and we're working on bug fixes and feature implementation. So really excited for where this is going and how the game's starting to feel here. A lot of polish work to do still before we get to the Steam Alpha. I'm still waiting on my tax info and ID info and all that type of stuff to go through before we can actually get full access to making our store page. So that's going to be in the works hopefully this upcoming week. I don't know why it would take much longer than that, but currently it has been. So some of the updates and things that we've been working on lately in the game is one of the big ones is getting melee damage working and melee range, and just getting that whole element of the game implemented, which is now in. If you like slide, dash, and melee. I don't have any melee that happened in this gameplay that we're watching here. We had first one on the streets map, then our test map, and then we have another gameplay coming up on Dusty 2 at the end, I believe. And this one was a 2v1 that we just got into a spawn trap. And you'll actually see here we get the Golden Desert Eagle and the Juggernaut kill streak where you get 500 HP. So you'll kind of see how that looks and works from the offensive point of view there. But yeah, we did the melee combat, and then we did, which kept me busy for a long time, the weapon dropping to the ground with their skin and their attachments. So that way, when you go over and press E, you can pick up their weapon. And then when you pick up their weapon, your weapon has to drop to the ground. And if you're holding a secondary and pick up their primary, it'll still, pick up the primary and not swap out your secondary for it. And if they're using a secondary and you pick up a secondary when they die, then you take their secondary and it doesn't do anything to your primary. There was a lot of crap to work through to make all of those things happen properly. So I think we have it in a state now where that functions as intended. That was probably the biggest headache of last week, just because there's so many weirdness, like gun not hitting the floor, it's floating in the air, it's the wrong skin, the attachments are off the weapon. When I swap from my secondary to their primary, it's two primaries. Like all that type of stuff was a more daunting task than I thought it would be, but I believe I'm happy with where that's at now. Here's me calling in the Juggernaut, so I just gained a bunch of size. You notice in the bottom right, I get 100 bullets, but the UI is flashing, so I need to fix that. That's one thing we noticed, because we don't really get these 15 kill streaks and stuff like that often in playtest, so I don't see too much on the multiplayer server and matchmaking side that these kind of anomalies and bugs like that happen. So really happy that we're getting some players on, and just finding out the wonkiness of the game that we need to iron out, such as Satera here, who is an absolute monster at the game already, was flying on one of the maps, so we're going to take a second look at that. The game is like, it's a low poly game. It's supposed to be kind of fun, maybe a little bit of goofy around the edges and a fast arcade shooter. But that type of stuff, obviously, we have to iron out. I've been spending a lot of times doing invisible walls. Ladder behavior I've updated, so you can move horizontally on the ladders as well as vertically, and you can shoot from them. So that was a decent implementation that we did recently. So lots of recent things that have come into play. I need to line up a couple other guns. The next update I'm going to do for Shattersight as a whole is time to kill is going to be lowered by a little bit. I've had enough people already say that. So ARs and SMGs are all going to get a 1 point damage buff to them, and the snipers and pistols are going to stay the same. So our next update, time to kill, should be a little bit faster, and we'll see how the general appeal is to that. The sniper scopes, instead of zooming in with the mouse wheel and the kind of slower but fisheye transition to the scope, we're going to try to make that a little, maybe not necessarily faster, but cleaner from that normal POV to scoped in. So it's like a snap once it kicks in, and not a slow transition to it, because it's a bit dizzy inducing when you're zooming in all the time like that. And then maybe copying the Counter-Strike op, where it's a click for zoom 1, zoom 2, and then click out, or you switch weapons and switch back to get out of your scope. So we might make some adjustments to the snipers yet, but we'll kind of see how people feel about that. We've gotten some good positive feedback just about the game in general, just like the flow and the fun that we're having playing, which is super nice for me to hear. We've had a couple guys here say the hit reg is actually feeling pretty good, so I'm happy about that. And that's kind of why I went with the hit scan model, because I've played games to where they're so good, but the network performance, like the desync, actually kills the game. And Iron Sight is one of them. X Defiant, brutal, absolutely brutal with their desync. It might have been worse than Iron Sight, and when it feels like that, people leave. No matter how good your game is, if you're dying behind cover, your peeker advantage is so strong that people don't even see you on the screen. If that's happening that often, people are going to leave your game. So I know we're not at that professional, polished, ready for Steam, full launch type of scenario yet, but that's one of the main things I've been asking people when they're playing is, how does the hit reg feel? How does it feel? Are you dying behind walls? Are you putting bullets on their chest but it's not hitting? And so far we've had pretty good response with that, because I do have a lag compensation in the game for up to 250 milliseconds of ping. So if you hit them on your screen, it should hit, and it is hit scan, which I feel like is a safer approach than bullet trajectory, just because it will feel less desyncy. So I don't know. I like the idea of hit scan just for the snappiness feeling of the game. So, yeah, those are going to be the updates that are coming through. Looking forward to the rest of Shattersight, and hope to see you guys on. Thanks for playing.